Hi everyone, this is Deborah. Welcome back. Today I'm playing with making a journal cover. Now I have these pieces of card. They're quite long and they're actually, you can see they've got quite a good spine within them. And what they are is they actually came out of some curtain packaging. So when the curtains are sitting in the shop, you know, the top is up here and this is the width of the curtains when they're packaged up. I got these and I've been looking at them and thinking they'd make a good journal cover because they've already got a spine folded up and built in. The spine is about 1 3/4 inches, so it's quite a good size. I'll probably get, you know, a couple of signatures in there, if not 3. And I'm going to try and play with that today. Now, as I was playing with it, I realised that it's actually that cardboard or, you know, corrugated card within the 2 pieces of paper, sort of a paper-like substance. And so I started peeling this back and I thought that'd be really nice to kind of do a bit of a play with that and have this sort of corrugated stuff on the outside rather than just covering it all, just to expose some of the rawness of the actual journal. The inside's not great, it's got all those sort of marky things on it because of the corrugation, but I do like that. So I'll just sort of start playing. I have a journal in mind and so I've cut it down. This was the one I had out yesterday that I haven't yet put together. So this is kind of the mishmash journal of all my bits that I'd made, and I've cut this down so it's fairly generous, you can see there. Somebody asked me in a comment, they mentioned, you know, what journal was that I had out from yesterday's video. And if I can open it, it's all tied up, hang on. This is just the one that I was doing where I did sort of all those pages, and you can see that on the channel. Just go back to just before I had my break, I was doing this where I was using up all those bits and bobs that I had just to create these pages that I'm now putting into a journal. So I don't think all of them are going to fit in this one journal, but I think I'll get quite a few in. So that's the plan for today, is do some of the cover or all of the cover. So I've cut it. It's fairly, I think it's fairly straight. Let's check that. Yeah, it was actually pretty easy to cut because it ran along the line here. This would be the hardest part to cut, but because the ridges go this way, I actually just ran my craft knife across there and it came away really easily. So first step is to pull some of this stuff off the front page. I don't know if the scissors are the best thing to do this with, but we'll try. Just to expose, oh, that's coming nicely, some of this corrugation. And I quite like that, where it's a bit of the paper is still left on. And the other thing you could try to use for this would be Amazon packaging. I've got some Amazon packaging in my stash, but I've not actually done anything with it. But I think it's got a similar thing with the corrugated card, or you can just get some corrugated card because they do have that. You know, I know I can buy that at Officeworks, although I think you have to buy a fairly large piece of it. And in terms of, you know, being cost effective and recycling, I think that, you know, something like this, any sort of packaging you can get that comes your way, you might be able to pull apart and do a similar thing with. Okay, I think that's about enough now. I've pulled a lot of that off to expose that corrugated. Now I'm not going to pull it all off because otherwise my structure is going to weaken too much. You can see on the edge here it is a bit flimsy, but I can reinforce it on the back so that it retains some structure once I get to that point. But right now I thought maybe I can put some stuff on top. So let's get going. So now what I'm going to do, if I can get some glue out of my thing here, is I'm going to put some different papers and things on it. I just rang the craft shop and they have glue, so I'm going to go and pick some up tomorrow. She's got another order coming in, which is good. So I thought, like, if I just put some pages on top, I don't really have a plan, so I'll see how I go. I really like this. This is handwriting from this book here, but I don't know that. Oh yeah, that's actually a page. I thought I'd have to rip the, actually it isn't, it's part of the cover. I'm going to rip that off I'm constantly saving these things and never using them, thinking, oh, I must use that, but then it's too nice, I don't want to use it, which is really stupid, isn't it? I don't know why we get that sort of thing in our head that using things is kind of, you know, not using things when you have them. If I now peel some of that back, it's probably not quite dry enough yet, but it's all right. Just put some of that back a bit. I'll get that same sort of look, but it doesn't look like it's, actually that's a bit too much there. I might just let that dry a bit more. And if I put this on up here, like this in the corner, I do want that bit of water damaged piece. Sounds silly, most people wouldn't like the water damage, but of course as a junk journaler, something that we all love is when we get a really old page. And this one is quite old, it's an old shorthand book. And the next step is to lay down some Tim Holtz paper. So I've just torn this away, and I'll put that down there and just get that glue up on the edge. This is a bit of a messy thing. Maybe it's just me, everything I do seems to be messy. I don't know, but I quite like that. I'll cut that off because I don't like that white there. Once that dries, I'll cut that off. And I want to put some other bits down. And a bit more music paper over here just to balance the music paper that's down here. I know I'm covering that up, but I don't mind. I don't want to mix the paper up too much. And yes, I've got glue all over my desk, so I'm going to put it down on here because that's kind of where I want that paper. And I've got this old hand typed piece which I think I want to shape like this and put this on here. Yeah, that's good. Probably try and cut this bit here so it's not quite so straight on the edge. Now I definitely need some more of the paper, of the Tim Holtz paper. I just can't have that one piece. I need something else to put on it. And also I need to stick this down because it's not quite stuck on this edge. And I'm just going to tear this. Now I'll tear it back the other way. Actually I'll tear it this way. Okay, back the other way. So I don't get that white edge on this piece because this is the piece I want to use. And put that down here. So you can see that it's going to fit quite nicely just in there. What about that? I think I'm going to put something over the top anyway. I think yes, that's, I've decided. Just get some glue on here and put this on here. Oh, got it upside down. It's upside down. I can't have it upside down. And just tear this off across here now. And I do need something down here, I think, don't I? Maybe I'll put some other ephemera on here now rather than just the paper. Now I've got a couple more bits of paper and also this little Kodak, you know, thing that I did with one of the photo booth, Tim Holtz photo booth. And I've been putting that on and off here and I like that there. So I thought maybe I can tear some of these up as well to create, you know, like another strip that comes through here. Let's see how we go. Maybe like that. That looks okay, I think. Maybe I like this one too because it's quite long. Now I don't want to go too much further because I'm covering up all that torn back, you know, page that I did. I've got some up here and some there and some there. So I think that I should stop now, otherwise I'll be ending up covering all that. And I quite liked it, so I didn't really want to cover it. But I do want to cover that piece of little bit of Russian book that's there. I think that will look a bit silly though, that bit. Let me just get a bit more and just see if I can tear a tiny bit down, just maybe to there, a bit off the bottom. Does that look alright? Look a bit silly. No, that's not going to work. I don't like that. Oh, it's sticking. Alright, I'm going to leave it, I think. I would like to kind of hide that piece of really straight thing there. Maybe I can put this, but then that just accentuates that piece there, doesn't it? Oh, I really didn't want to cover it all, but it looks like I'm going to cover more than I wanted. Okay. I don't like that straight edge, so I might have to put it down and hope for the best. And just stick it down here. Okay, at least it's hidden that straight edge now, and I can live with the straight edge up here. Alright, so that's just that part of it. And then I need to put some stuff on the inside as well. I'll just clean this mess up a little bit first. So I've measured out this, which is just more pieces of Tim Holtz paper. This is going to be the inside cover here, and this is going to be the binding strip. I might actually do that the other way around. Yeah, I'll do it on that side. So I've just measured it, and I'll just grab my trolley, because what I need to do is to make the piece that I'm going to use for the binding. So if I put this here, I don't really need to use my scoring board, because I can use the holes or the little ridge in there and just use that as the guide, and then on the other side. So that's going to be the piece that sits in there. I'll just make it straight. I'm going to do it on the other side, so I have to do it this way and then this way. And so this piece, actually I had it the right way the first time, this piece will sit in here, and that's going to be my inside spine, and then after I've done that I'll stick the other pages down. So now I know how big this is. So now I'm going to find the center point of that, and I'm going to put my holes in for my binding so I can get this one finished up. So if I measure it at the 1 inch mark, and this is how you would do it, no matter what size your spine, you need to find that center line, and then I know it's 9 1/4 inches high, so that would be 4 1/2 inches plus 1/8, and then I need to come out. I'm only going to do 3 things in here, so I'm going to come up 1 2 3 inches to here, and then 1 2 3 inches down here. So this is going to be that center bound piece. So poke 3 holes, and then from the center line I need to come out. Now I'm probably going to come out maybe 1/2 inch. Actually I'm going to come out 5/8 of an inch. I think that's probably better. So if I just measure that up, I've got a really blunt pencil, try and get something a bit sharper. 5/8 of an inch, and then 5/8 of an inch. And if I do the same, draw that line down, remembering this is the inside, so you're not going to see this, and even if you were, it wouldn't really matter. And then draw across so I get my holes in the same place. Yes, I could measure those out from the center, but I'm not going to bother. You know, who's got time to do all that? I just want to get this done, really. So I can put a line under it and say, yep, another one done. And this one is for me. I'm keeping this one because I like it. Now I'm using my template just to punch some holes through, so I'm lining that up so that it's centered, and then I'll just come through like that at the back. I find that this is the simplest way to actually put in a signature or sew a signature together. For me, this works. It may not work for you, but it certainly works for me. Now the ones that are a bit shorter, it doesn't really matter. You can center them. This one's got a little on the top and a bit more on the bottom. It's up to you. If you want to center it, then take the time to do that. I don't feel the need to do that. I'm just punching the holes through so I can get the starting point for them as I sew, and it's easier as I sew through them. The ones like this, which are the same size as the spine, they need to be centered, otherwise your pages will pop out of your journal top and bottom. So that's pretty good. And of course made more difficult by the fact that these ones are heavily embellished, but my fault because I'm the one who did it, so I can't complain. Things like that that have fallen out though, I will just leave that there, and then put another one. I'd really like one more actually in the center. I'd like to start with a piece of the card and end with a piece of the card rather than the dyed paper. I'm going to pop one more in that piece. Now if you like, you can clip these so they don't move around if you're worried about that sort of thing. I don't bother, but you know, I embrace the messiness of the junk journal world. I know a lot of people are so much neater than me, but it's just not my style. I can't be neat. I try, but it never works, so I've kind of given up. I recognised that years ago that I'm not a neat person. Now just thread my wax thread, and I've got a needle to do that through. Make sure that your thread is long enough. There's nothing worse than running out of thread as you're binding. It really puts a damper on the whole thing. And now I'm going to thread them through, just through the holes that I just made. Just poke them on. The first one is always the hardest, of course, to get that where you, without it falling apart, and then it becomes easier. That must be side heavy because it doesn't want to stay on there. I'll put a bit more needle through this time. Okay, get that through there, and then the last one through there. And don't forget this piece, because if you don't put that piece on, you won't have a spine. And also make sure your pieces are up the right way. Now this going in the centre, I almost put it in the top hole, just saved it at the last minute. Bring it through, and it's a bit awkward and a bit fiddly, but it will work. Make sure you leave a long tail. If you don't leave a long tail, you'll have a problem when you go to thread it back through. It'll slip out, and then this one goes through that top center, and then just thread it all back on. This is why you need to give yourself enough room with your thing, because otherwise you won't get that in. Now I'm having trouble seeing the hole in this psychedelic paper. There it is. And there should be one more through here. And then back around down through the bottom hole. And back through the bottom of the spine piece as well. Try not to poke yourself in the hand or the eye as you're doing this, and then just thread a bit more through because I've left myself a bit short. And I've come through the wrong hole, and that's probably a good thing because I'll show you what to do if you do that. Unthread your needle. It's only the wrong hole on this piece, of course. I've gone through the side one, not the center one. Easy to fix though. And just come through the center this time. Okay, and then we're going back through the center. Just pull this down, tighten it up a bit, and then we're going back through the center. Now this should be reasonably easy because you've already done this once, so all the pages should just slip on. And that is your first signature in. As I said, this piece of these journal pages I've done are quite bulky, and they've got a lot of heavy embellishment on them, and so it's made it a little bit more difficult than normal. But you know, that's my fault because that's how I made them. Now I've got the thread between each other, so I've gone through actually one of the threads. I'm just going to take the time to unthread that because it'll make life much easier if it's not like that. And then I'm checking that I don't have any big loops caught up in each of the pages, so I'm just having a visual look to make sure that all the thread is in there. Okay, and then tie it up. Now the other thing I do, I'm not sure if it makes a difference, but it makes me feel good, is I put this thread under here so that I've caught this thread that goes from the top to the bottom is caught in the center as well. And that will now go into what we were doing before. So it's going to sit in the center of that journal like that.